to explain these topics once again. So I told you copy constructor. It is used to declare and initialize an object from another object. So whatever the contents of object 1 will be copied into object 2. So there are two ways to initialize the objects. That is to copy the constructor. So one thing, there is a here in the first sentence they have mentioned, we briefly mentioned about the copy constructor in section 6.3. We use the copy constructor integer space ampersand I. Okay, forget about this because that is a bit confusing. Instead of that, just concentrate on these two statements, that is integer space I2 bracket I1. So here what happens, this is one type of using copy constructor. That is, whatever the constructors of I2 will be initialized to I1, that is here they are given here, would define the object I2 and at the same time initialize it to the values of I1. Okay, this is one form of statement. What happens, I2 object is created and that I2 object, whatever the values I2 consist of, those will be initialized to I1, that is new object I1. Clear? So here they are given here, would define the object I2 and the same initialized it to the values of I1. Sorry, it is vice versa. That is, whatever the values of I1 will be initialized to I2. So I2 object will be created and I1 values, whatever the values are present in I1, will initialize to I2. Clear? Next, here we can write that type of statement, or else one more statement, integer I2 is equal to I1. This is also valid. Both are valid. Here I1 values, whatever the values of the values present in that is I1 objects, whatever the values present in object I1 will be copied into I2. This is nothing but, copy constructor is nothing but it creates an identical copy of another object. That is, I2 is an identical copy of I1. Okay, next statement, here you can see the process of initializing to copy constructor is known as copy initialization. So next statement is I2 is equal to I1. So what happens here, it doesn't invoke any constructor. It doesn't invoke any constructor, as I2 and I1 are objects. I1 is one object, I2 is another object. So what happens here is, it doesn't invoke any constructor. What happens, it simply assigns the values of I1 to I2, that is member by member. Whatever the values are present in I1 will be assigned to I2. Here it doesn't invoke any constructor. Okay, now let us see this example. See, in this example there is a class called code. Okay, there is one data member, that is ID. So we have, how many constructors are there here? 3 constructors. One is without, that is default constructor. Another one is parameterized constructor with one argument, and third one is one more constructor. Here we have passed object has okay, one more constructor, that is code ampersand of a. That is, I told you here, this is also one type of copy constructor, but this is not necessary because this makes some confusion. If you don't write this also, it is okay. Okay, forget about this. Now come here, id is equal to, what I have done in this particular copy constructor, id is equal to x dot id. That is, we are copying the value of whatever the value is present in x will be copied into id using this data format. Okay, data operator. Next, void one more function, we have defined one more member function called void display cout id. Okay, next comes, always your execution starts from main function. So here we have declared how many just here a b c, those are nothing but object. Okay, so code and score space a 100. So we have passed value 100, and which is the name of the object is a. So it is object a is created and copy constructor is, that's our constructor is invoked. So which constructor? That is code int a, because one value we have passed, one value. Okay, so what happens here, this particular 100 will be assigned to a, and that a value will be assigned to id. Okay, so id, the value of id will be 100. Next next is code b bracket a. So here the whatever the values of a will be copied into, this is also one type of statement, one type of writing the copy constructor, that is b slash a. Okay, what happens, the constructor, whatever the values of A will be copied into B object. Okay, next code C is equal to A. This is also a copy constructor called again. So what happens here, whatever the values of A are there, that will be copied into value the object C. Next, code D, that is D object is created, D is equal to A. Here we don't invoke any constructor. Here whatever the values are present in A will be simply assigned to D, that is member by one. What is value present in A? 100. So that 100 will be copied into D object. So D also will consist of 100. Okay, next comes here, cout id of A, that will be displayed on your screen, is equal to A dot display. So what we are doing, we are invoking a function called display, A dot display. So what is there in display function? Cout id. So what is the value of id here in A? That is 100. So id of A will be 100. Same way id of B dot display, it will display id. What is the value of id? 100. Same way cout C, what is the value of id in C? 100, because it is copy constructor. Again, C of D. In D we have not invoked here D is equal to A. We have not invoked any constructor here. Okay, keep it in mind. D, only thing we have written D is equal to A. D is object, A is object. So what happens, the values present in A, it just simply copies, assigns to D. So D will also consist value 100, so it displays 100. Clear? This is the working of copy constructor. They have used there this code ampersand x. So this is not necessary, you can ignore this. Okay, only these two code with the default constructor and parameter constructor, you can consider only those two constructor is enough, because this code again you need this some more explanation that is not necessary for you people. So only you can consider code with default constructor and parameters constructor. Okay, so here the output of the program is here, id of A, you can see here A dot display in code, that is A dot display. It invokes that particular function, display function. What is id value in object A? It is 100, that 100 will be displayed. B also 100, C also 100, D also 100. Clear? So this dynamic constructor is not there for your syllabus. Okay, next, destructors. So why destructors are used? To destroy the objects that have been created using constructor. Here we will now in Marturi, whatever the objects we have created using the constructors, those objects will be destroyed by using destructors. Why we use these destructors is when the use of that particular object is out of scope, we don't require that object at all, so we need to destroy that particular object, so we use this destructors. The simple form of syntax is you have to use tilde symbol, that is design symbol tilde symbol, that symbol tilde symbol you have to use in front of that name of the destructor, bracket, open the brace, write the code for define that destructor, close the brace. That is what destructor is. So same way as we use class name for constructor, so here we use class name for destructor. That is what. Okay, and one more thing, a destructor never takes any argument, nor does it return any value. It works implicitly by the compiler upon exit from the program, or block or function as the case may be, to clean up storage that is no longer accessible. It is good practice to declare constructors in a program, so it releases memory space for future use. Clear? So why we use this destructors? So I I think people have studied in data structures, malloc, calloc, realloc, and free pointer in dynamic memory allocations. What happened in dynamic memory allocations? Whenever you don't need any memory allocations, if you want to free up the space, what you do, whenever the usage of that particular variables have completed, what you do, you want to free up the space. In order to free the space, what you do, you use free pointer one. Allen ಒಂದು function called free pointer ಅಂತ ಇತ್ತು dynamic memory allocation. ಆ free pointer use ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ whatever the memory is allocated using those malloc, calloc, and realloc, those memories will be deleted by that free pointer. That is nothing but your free up space free ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ. Okay, you just release the memory space for future use. Whatever the memory has been used by the constructor or the objects created by the constructor will be deleted and it will be freed. That is what the use of destructors. Okay, we'll directly move on to this particular example. Okay, see here, Okay, first you have to write the header file, again like using namespace std. So what we have done here, int count is equal to 0. First we have initialized the value 0 for count. So count value, initially the count value will be 0. We have created a class called alpha. We have created a alpha constructor here. What we have written in this constructor, what we have defined the constructor here, count plus plus cout number of objects created count. We are giving the count, how many number of objects have been created. We are just giving the count there. Next, after that we have used destructor, that is styled symbol alpha. So it is same way as the name of the constructor as well as class, and we have close the brace, open the brace. What I have written in the constructor, number of object destroyed and count, and again count minus 1. We are decrementing the count. Once the particular the object is destroyed, the count will be decremented. Okay, always a compiler starts executing from the main function. Okay, first what will be the first sentence that will be displayed on your screen? Enter main. So see here, how many objects we have created here? We have created 4 objects, that is a1, a2, a3, a4. So we have created 4 objects. Okay, first statement to be displayed on the screen is cout enter block. When 4 objects have been created, whenever an object is created, it invokes a function. Yes or no? It invokes a function. So when alpha a1 is created, when alpha a1 is created, it invokes directly, it invokes the constructor. What happens? What is there in constructor? Now alpha a1 the a1 create directly it goes to that particular constructor, or directly it invokes that particular constructor. What is there in alpha constructor? We are incrementing the count. What is initially the count value was 0. Now count plus plus, that means count has been incremented. 0 is count 1 again number of object created. So what is the value of count? 1. So first statement to be displayed is number of object created count. What will be the value of count? 1. Next it comes again a2 object is created. Again when object is created, it directly invokes the particular constructor. So what is the constructor? Again it comes to this particular constructor. So what is the value of count? It was incremented by 1, right? Count 1 itself. So again it will be incremented. And what will be the value of count now? 2. Again number of object created. What is the value of count here? 2. Second statement to display is number of object created 2. Next again for a3, it goes to the constructor. Count will be incremented to 3. Number of object created is 3. Again it goes to a4. It creates a4 object. Once the object is created, directly invokes the constructor. Count will be incremented to 4. Number of object created is 4. See, just see the output. First enter cout enter main will be displayed. There is cout enter main. After that, number of object created 1, number of object created 2, number of object created 3, number of object created 4. Now alpha a1, a2, a3, a4. So a1 number of object created 1, a2 number of object created 2, a3 number of object created 3, a4 number of object created 4. So those statements will be displayed. Next again what I have done here, enter block 1. So next after a number of object created 4, one more statement will be displayed, that is enter block 1. So what I have done here, we have created one more object called alpha a5 and one more object create ಮಾಡಿರಿ. So again what happens, same process is repeated. Again when the object is created, it again goes back to that particular constructor alpha. Count ಏನಿತ್ತು previously 4 ಇತ್ತ, ಈಗ ಏನಕ್ಕಿತ್ತು increment 1, count will be 5, number of object created is 5. So number of object created 5, count is 5 because it is incremented from 4 to 5, object are created 5. ಈಗ alpha a5 ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡೇವ್ರಿ, ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಈಗ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ alpha a5 ಕೆಲಸ ಮುಗೀತು. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅದು ಮುಂದೆ ಬೇಡ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನು ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅದು alpha a5 ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಆಗ್ತಿತ್ತು ಆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಇಟ್, ವೆನ್ ದ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಆಫ್ ವೆನ್ ದಟ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಎಂಡ್ಸ್, ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಯೋರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರಿ ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ವೋಕ್ಡ್. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ a5 ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಐತದಲ್ರಿ, ಇದು alpha a1, a2, a3, a4 ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಹಾಕಿರಿ, ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ cout ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬರ್ದ್ರಿ, alpha a5 ಅಂತ ಬರ್ದ್ರಿ, ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಒನ್ಸ್ ದ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್, ಆ a5 ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ a5 ಕೆಲಸ ಮುಗೀತು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕೆ ಬರೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್, ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕ್ಲಿ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ದ ಬ್ರೇಸ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್. ವೆನ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ comes, that a5 object will be destroyed. So directly this particular what compiler in ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ directly it invokes alpha destroyer. invoke ಆಕೈತಿ, number of object destroyed, count ಏನಿತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ count 5 ಐತಿಲ್ರಿ ಅದು ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ count 5 count 5 again count minus 5 ಇದಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿಕ್ರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಆತ್ರಿ ಅಗೇನ್ ಕೌಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ 4 ಓಕೆ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ದ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಮತ್ತು ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೇನು ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ಆಕೈತ್ರಿ ಈಗ ಅಗೇನ್ ಎಂಟರ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ 2 ಎಂಟರ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ 2 ಆದಮೇಲೆ alpha a6 you have created one more object called a6 that means a6 object create ಆತಂದ್ರಿ it directly invokes the constructor alpha again it comes here alpha constructor ಬಂತ್ರಿ ಈ ಕೌಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಕ್ರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ರೀ 5 4 ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅಗೇನ್ ಈಗ ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತು ರೀ ಅಗೇನ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ರಿಮೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು 5 ಸೊ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ 5ನೇ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಒಂದು ಕೌಂಟ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಈಗ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಒಂದು ಕೌಂಟ್ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಆಯ್ತು 4 ಇಂದ 5 ಆಯ್ತು ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ ಇಸ್ 5 ಈಗ ಅಲ್ಫಾ a6 ಆತ್ರಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರಿ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಏನ್ರಿ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ a6 ಕೆಲಸ ಮುಗೀತು ಕೇಲ್ ಖತಮ್ ಸೊ ಅಗೇನ್ ದಟ್ a6 ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ a6 destroy ಆಗೈತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ again that destruction will be invoked number of object destroyed count now ಏನಿತ್ತು 5 count 5 ಇತ್ತು number of object destroyed 5 again count will be minus 5 ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನಂತ 4 ಆಯ್ತು ರಿಟರ್ನ್ 0 ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಹೌದಾ ರೀಎಂಟರ್ ಮೇನ್ ಇದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ e6 ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಅಗೇನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಡ್ ಆನ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ರೀಎಂಟರ್ ಮೇನ್ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ಆಕೈತ್ರಿ ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಈಗ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರೇಸ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ 0 ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಈಗ ಇನ್ನೂ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ 4 ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಿಲ್ರಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಲೆ a1 a2 a3 a4 ಆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟ್ ಮೇನ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿರಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಇಂಟ್ ಮೇನ್ ಇಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆದಾಗಿಂದ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಕೈತಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮುಗೀತು ಸೊ ಅಗೇನ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ a4 a3 a2 a1 ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಒನ್ ಬೈ ಒನ್ ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಯಾವ್ದು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು a4 ಆಗಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಸೊ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಗೇನ್ a4 ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅಗೇನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ವೋಕ್ಡ್ 4 ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ a4 a3 a2 a1 4 ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ದ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ವೋಕ್ಡ್ 4 ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ a4 ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಕೌಂಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿತ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ a6 ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಕೌಂಟ್ 5 ಇತ್ತು ಮತ್ತು ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ಆದಾಗ 4 ಆಯ್ತು ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ 4 ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಗೇನ್ a3ಗೆ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ 3 ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ 2 ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ 1 so hinge one by one all the objects will be destroyed so when the close atilri once that particular block ends automatically the destructor will destroy all the objects okay see here enter main number of object created 1 number of object created 2 number of created 3 4 ಆದರೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಎಂಟರ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಬಂದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ a5 ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ನೀವು ಅಲ್ಫಾ 5 ಅಂತ a5 ಅಂತ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರಿ a5 ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆತ ಕೌಂಟ್ 4 ಇಂದ 5 ಆಯ್ತು ರೀ ಅಗೇನ್ ಅದು a5 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರಿ ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಅದಾದಮೇಲೆ ಸೊ ಅದು ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಲ್ರಿ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ 5 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯರ್ನಾಗ ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕೌಂಟ್ ಮೈನಸ್ ಐತೆ ಹೌದಲ್ರಿ ಅಗೇನ್ ಕೌಂಟ್ 5 ಇದ್ದ 4 ಆಗಿರ್ತೈತೆ ಅಗೇನ್ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಏನು ಬರ್ದ್ರಿ ನೀವು ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಬ್ರಾಕೆಟ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಂಟರ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ದಿರಿ ಸಿ ಔಟ್ ಎಂಟರ್ ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಆ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗೈತೆ ರೀ ಈಗ 4 ಇದ್ದ ಕೌಂಟ್ ಈಗ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು a6 ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಿ ಸೊ ಅಗೇನ್ ಕೌಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ರಿಮೆಂಟೆಡ್ a6 ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ 4 ಇದ್ದ 5 ಆಯ್ತು ರೀ ಮತ್ತು ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮತ್ತು ರೀಎಂಟರ್ ಮೇನ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬರ್ದಿರಿ ರೀಎಂಟರ್ ಮೇನ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ 0 ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗ ಒಟ್ಟು ಟೋಟಲ್ ಕೌಂಟ್ 4 ಇದ್ದವಲ್ಲ ರೀ ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದು ರೀ 4 ಅದಾವಲ್ಲ ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ 4 ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ 3 ಆಕೈತಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಒಂದು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ ರೀ ಕೌಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಡಿಕ್ರಿಮೆಂಟೆಡ್ 4 ಇಲ್ಲಿ 3 ಆಯ್ತು ರೀ 3 ಇದು 2 ಆಯ್ತು 2 ಇದು 1 ಆಯ್ತು ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ example. I hope this video has made you clear the topic of copy constructor as well as destructors. Okay, thank you.